Litecoin, it stood the test of time. And if I'm going to make a bet, what's going to be here 10 years down the road, that's going to be Bitcoin. And then it's going to be Litecoin number two.
Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name is Aaron, joined with my brother Austin, and today we have on the legendary, this guy is a TA expert. He's got a great YouTube channel. His name is Tom Crown. He's bullish on Bitcoin, I believe. He believes Litecoin is undervalued. He's going to give us his long-term projections, at least, year-long or end-of-cycle projections for Bitcoin, Litecoin. But we're talking about the whole market today. Tom Crown, how are you doing today?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome. You're both amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that, dude. You're amazing as well. Now, besides expert trader, is that how you introduce yourself? That's how I know you, but give us an introduction for the audience.
Guy with sunglasses, man. I love charts. I love crypto, and that's pretty much it. I'm pretty simple.
Cool. Now, before we jump into stuff, I guess just big picture, what is your current thoughts on the state of the market today? Just anything that interests you in the market today. How do you think about it?
I think it's right where it needs to be. We've had some exciting times. We've had some boring times, and it's really the boring times that weed out, I feel like, the weak hands. And I think that's what we're experiencing a lot of 2021. And I'm still absolutely bullish. I don't see any reason why people would be looking for a bear market out of nowhere, something like that. I don't know.
Isn't that when bear markets show up out of nowhere?
Ah, crap. Well, yeah, you got me.
Guys, if you appreciate us keeping it real, smash that like button. Let's get this video out there to as many people as possible. And again, before we jump into the charts, just one more question, Tom. Are you purely a trader, or do you HODL coins as well? Is there coins that you believe in for longer periods of time?
Yeah, of course. I think everyone in the space really should be splitting up what they're doing. I don't think there's one perfect path. I think that maybe that perfect path is a combination of everything. You're looking for a little, maybe some staking or APY yielding. You're doing some trading. And then I think the part that new traders miss is the hodling part. That is the biggest part. You don't have to have your entire portfolio sitting doing nothing, but you should have something. That's really what my thoughts on that have always been.
Excellent. And everybody's different. Just because you hold something doesn't mean I should hold it. But for the folks at home who are wondering, which coins do you hold that you don't mind sharing, in your opinion, long-term holds?
Yeah, I'm a bit of like an unorthodox Bitcoin maximalist. My goal is to get more Bitcoin, but I do have coins that I like as well. And that's pretty broadly defined by anything proof of work that has a natural, fair origin. Here it comes, guys. Litecoin, one of my favorites, fits that description. It has a very long blockchain. It stood the test of time. And so that has an umbrella of coins underneath it. But at the end of the day, I'm really in them for their growth and so that I can use that to acquire more Bitcoin.
I like that. Let's jump into the charts. Let's start with Bitcoin, then we'll get on to Litecoin.
Here's how I see Bitcoin. First off, you got to put your chart on log. This is not a useful chart. It looks like essentially Bitcoin never did anything for years, and then all of a sudden had a little bump, and now we're out in space. So when we put it on the logarithmic chart, I think we can see kind of the true nature of Bitcoin. And this is how I view it. This is how I view the cycle we're in now, previous cycles, and probably cycles going forward, by essentially measuring in price and time. There's two dimensions on our chart. And there's more than one way to measure really what's happening in Bitcoin. A lot of people are stuck on the lows to highs. So let's say like 2015 to 2017. And that's what they're looking for now. They're looking for, where's the next cycle top? I think that's a great question, but it needs to be answered in different ways. And this might look a little weird, but what I'm trying to imply here is we can measure a cycle from the lows. So this arrow from low to low in 2015 to 2018, from low to high, 2015, 2017, or from high to high. And my entire career really on YouTube, I've been saying the same thing is I'm looking for essentially the same move. I can guarantee it's not going to be exactly the same, but I think it's the best model that we have and the best thing that we can use to guesstimate or at least take a swing at where we might be in the future. This is probably a lot to process at once, but essentially what this is doing all of those measurements. So if we look at our 2014 to 2017 high to high move, we have about a 1,500%. That's what I'm looking for now from 20K. The same is true from low to low. It's $163 to $3,100, and that's 1,800% gain. If we do the simple math on it and apply those same percents, I've been looking for this 300s, probably the 300s just level, and then I'd expect to see a same retracement that we've seen time and time again, which is roughly 84, 85%. So my views on Bitcoin is we have not seen the parabolic leg. We're looking for that real run up, and we may end up in a bear market retracing back to around these levels. I would say 61 to maybe 50,000. That's really the long-term view that I've held on Bitcoin now for years. So I think I'm just going to stick to it.
Now, Tom, take me back to that first chart, if you would.
Absolutely.
Perfect. I love the perspective. Super interesting. For this one specifically, how come it has to repeat? Like if it's only happened once, how come it has to do the exact same thing again?
Of course. I think that's even an argument of why, we guarantee it isn't the exact same, but I don't see really a reason to use any other guide, if that makes sense. So we only have this example here. That's what happened in the last 7 years now. And so instead of kind of just guessing, I've been in Bitcoin forever, it feels like. And every year I always hear Bitcoin can't do this. It can't go to this height. It can't fall this far. And people really at the end of the day are just making up numbers. I can't see it being over 100,000. So it can't. Every single time I've heard anything with that rhetoric, it's been proven wrong. And so I feel that the best way to do it is approach it from what happened before, look for it again, and then we can plan our trading or investing around that.
Excellent. So look, Tom, I'm a simple man. I buy, I hold, I sometimes sell. Let's just break this down real simple for me. So you're talking about this cycle, you believe Bitcoin is going to touch $300,000.
I believe that it's very likely. Very likely.
Using your, the bottoms of the next bear market, you believe that where we are right now is right around where Bitcoin will bottom out in the eventual bear market.
Yep. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Just the biggest prank on all of us.
Yeah.
And what probability would you give it? Because obviously, nothing's 100%, but just in your opinion, probability.
The probability of it playing out exactly the way I'm looking at it, I'd say 0. There's just no way to know price discovery highs and lows. I don't think there's anyone on the planet that knows exactly where Bitcoin will stop. But I think I can say that people aiming for maybe 100,000, it just doesn't fit what we've seen. That would be only a 5x from our previous all-time high. That really is dwarfed by any other 4-year period in Bitcoin. It just doesn't fit the chart that we've seen. And so I'm going to keep looking for this. And I don't plan on doing nothing until then, but I do think it is wise for people to create a plan where they're using this as a guide. And instead of saying, I'm selling everything at this exact price, which never comes, or it comes and you get just suckered, blows past, you can slowly wade in and out. And this is how I do most of my trading. It's very slow, very swing trade-ish, where I'm just leaning kind of in each direction against the market. As it goes up, I'm taking profit. As it goes down, I'm rebuying my positions.
Excellent. My final question on Bitcoin as we wrap up Bitcoin, and then I want to transition over to Litecoin, is we named a price target. Do you have a time target? Bitcoin cycle could last in this range.
Yeah, that's where it gets really rough too. We saw almost exactly 4 years last time from high to high. And so that would mean by end of year, we should see another high. There's been a lot of talk about extending length cycles. I think there's probably some merit to that, but it would be out of the probability that it is beyond maybe Q1 or Q2 of next year.
Excellent. Tom, let's transition to Litecoin. I know you're a huge Litecoin bull.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
First of all, what's the secret? What's the secret to thinking about Litecoin? It's basically anything fundamental, or you're just taking a look at the price chart and you trust that the fundamentals are there, that this will continue being valued?
Well, I am a big chart guy. I'd put that first. But Litecoin, for me, crypto, it is a new type of real with verification. This is a new type of real we haven't experienced. And history of that reality, of that verification, I think is important. And Litecoin is honestly the only, or is the second oldest traded asset at the moment. I don't believe any of its predecessors are still trading. And that's important to me. It stood the test of time. And if I'm going to make a bet, what's going to be here 10 years down the road, that's going to be Bitcoin. And then it's going to be Litecoin number 2.
Okay. So what are we looking at? How undervalued is Litecoin?
So this chart here is Litecoin versus Bitcoin's value. This has been used against me a lot lately. Deja vu on that, but it's been used a lot against me, saying Litecoin, this is never going to go up. Well, I've heard that about every coin. I really like these Bitcoin value charts because they show you not the change in dollars. So most people think of coins in dollar value. A lot of the older investors, we think of coins in terms of Bitcoin value. When we look at Litecoin's chart, we see that even right now, it's at basically historic lows. A lot of the new coins that came out this year and a few of the older ones have made actually new all-time highs in value against Bitcoin. If we're using our heads here and we're thinking, I want to buy low, do you want to buy something that's near its historic low valuation against Bitcoin or at its highest evaluation against Bitcoin? I think the answer is obvious.
Low.
So how undervalued is Litecoin? What are your thoughts?
At the moment, let's see. It's currently trading one Litecoin cost 0.003-ish Bitcoin. And to return to its highest valuation, that would be 0.025. And so that would suggest maybe close to 90%.
Well, let me ask you this, Tom. I love how you're measuring the value against Bitcoin. If I'm looking just in 2021 up to 2022, I'm seeing lower highs. I'm not saying it can't break that, but could you see it going past, where we saw it at the beginning of 2021 around 0.07 or 8 for this cycle?
0.07 or 8?
0.007.
I was like, hey, don't get me excited. I could honestly, I don't think this is a super bullish looking chart yet. That is like kind of the universal thing in crypto is as soon as things look the worst is when they turn around. When they look the best is when they turn around. Can I see it returning to lows here? Yeah, I could even see this technically trading even lower. The traded pair here saw some liquidity issues many years ago, and we have wicks down to crazy prices across exchanges. So I think it's totally possible. But when we're dealing with probability, I think it is much better to bet here, betting on a move to the upside, than it is to bet on exploring kind of new lows in valuation, especially with a coin that does have active development. And it really is and has functioned as a test net for Bitcoin for years. There's a lot of big characters involved.
So let's get to a Litecoin price prediction. Let's look at it, Bitcoin, and then we can just think about it, or in US dollars, and we can just times it by the current price of Litecoin. But how many X percentage gains do you think Litecoin will hit? Or in US dollars, what price?
It's a spicy one. So we could measure, that makes total sense to measure it against Bitcoin and then say, well, if I think Bitcoin's going to 300,000 and Litecoin's going to return to its valuation or its previous high valuations, what would that put it at? A lot, a lot. I don't think the answer is going to be that simple. I think that if we're going to look at the USD pair, the best way to do it is to use a technical analysis tool that we use all the time, which is the Fibonacci extension tool or retracement and extension tools. If we place it here using 420s, 2018 high and the 2018 bear market low at $22, we actually can see some pretty crazy upside targets on Litecoin. People may still think think I'm crazy for saying this, but we do this on my streams and on my channel all the time. And we have just seen the impossible happen. When we break these all-time high resistances and enter price discovery, crypto does have a knack of just exploding on us, right? Our extension tool here is suggesting that if we break our high, the price discovery will seek out the 1618, and that's currently at $2,586. I still think that there is potential for more upside than that. I don't want to get everyone too excited, but I could see Litecoin trading closer to 8,000 at a bull market cycle peak.
Wow. That would be crazy. Crazier things have happened. I really appreciate you sharing this perspective.
That is a 32x, by the way, from here.
Oh yeah. Well, the math gets crazier, because if we consider the possibility of Litecoin breaking its valuation against Bitcoin, there's one kind of logical price point that we would look for, and we don't have to use the chart to do it. What we do is basically look at Litecoin and say its max supply is 4 times that of Bitcoin. And so we could look and say, well, maybe against Bitcoin's value, it could be 0.25. That would be an insane gain. I'm not going to claim that's a very likely possibility, but I think that something closer to the 0.1 range is in the realm of possibility.
But question, if it didn't do that in 2017, and if arguably Litecoin was more relevant in 2017, like could you see it breaking past that valuation against Bitcoin in 2022?
The founder has no more coins to sell.
Exactly. He's out. Everyone, I love Charlie Lee. Everybody hates on him because he was a great trader. Isn't that a funny
Yeah, I mean,
story?
dude, he's the only one who was honest about it. All the other founders just sold secretly.
I love it. I had an interview with him. Great guy.
All right, let's take us off the screen share and we'll wrap it up. Tom Crown, the great, the man, the legend. Thank you so much for being on the stream today. Everybody from our audience, I encourage you to go click through that link in the description. Give Tom a chance, give him a sub, see what he's all about. Tom, final thoughts for our Altcoin Daily audience.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Your community is awesome. Final thoughts is, we have these big eyes in a bull market, and the impossible does happen. We've seen it happen, but we need to manage our risk, and we need to limit our losses and make sure we're not investing more than we can afford to lose. And I think if you follow those simple rules, you'll do great.
Sage advice. Thank you.
Thanks so much for being on today.
Thank you, guys.